Hello everyone, this is the Final Bosman, and on today's episode, I'm not making any friends. Welcome to the show. I am Kyle Bosman, and this week there's too much to talk about. The Xbox One comes out this week, the PlayStation 4 came out last week, Nintendo's 2 best games come out on Thursday, I met a girl at the deli. There's too much to talk about. So what I want to do are the power rankings for video games. Power rankings are a thing you've probably seen on other sites, like Entertainment Weekly will do like TV show power rankings, and ESPN will do NFL team power rankings, GameTrailers.com will do the G-Decks. And it's all silly nonsense, it all makes no sense, but it's still, I think, a fun thing to do. So today I'm doing my Final Bosman Power Rankings for week 47 of the 2013 season. Let's go! First, I should state that the Power Rankings are for entertainment purposes only. They should not be taken seriously, but they are also 100% accurate and obvious fact. So falling to number 10 this week on the Power Rankings list is Games Media. Between the 12-hour no-fun live streams and a bunch of little Twitter crybaby sessions that turned out to be for nothing, Games Media has proven again that it thinks it's more powerful than it really is. So up at the number 10 spot, kind of looks like opinionated Games Media is on the verge of irrelevance. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Uh-oh. And look who moved up to number 9, of course, it's gotta be Knack. So Knack had a pretty good week, had very yucky reviews, but Games Media made a space for him, so there he is, number 9. Congrats to Knack. And then locked in at number 8 is Nintendo. So Nintendo's about to have a good week, we think, because it's releasing 2 very great games. I was, of course, saying great games before I've played them, but there's those type of games, you know, it's like 3D World, oh, that looks like so much fun. A new Zelda game, come on. However, while the 3DS is crushing it right now and probably has my most favorite games on one video game machine this year, the Wii U, man, that thing is in trouble. And Nintendo seems to be refusing to acknowledge that. And so, what I want to ask is if a super fun tree falls in a forest that nobody knows about, does it make a sound? Nope. Wow, and look at this movement. Screaming all the way down to number 7 is commercials where normal guys pretend that video games are real life. They're killing it. Not only are these normal guys in the commercials for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, they're obviously in the Call of Duty Ghost commercial, but they're also in the Taco Bell commercial for the PlayStation 4 prizes. Man, they just love pretending video games are real life. Kind of seems like all Nintendo needs to turn this stuff around is to make a commercial where normal guys are pretending Nintendo games are real life. No, I didn't mean this. Oh no, come on. Oh, I didn't mean this. Bumping up to number 6 is Microsoft. I realize that seems like a pretty low ranking, but this is actually Microsoft's highest ranking on the Final Bosman Power Rankings since the console was announced back in May. They're doing pretty okay, and it is launch week after all. However, that console is still $500 and unlikely to meet what the PlayStation 4 has already accomplished at this point. And so, kind of interesting thing, Xbox 360 last generation was beating the PlayStation 3 for most of the generation, if not all. We'll never actually know where those two ended up for a while. It kind of depends on which Pacto you pray to. But I'm curious to see what Microsoft does behind Sony, behind a PlayStation. They haven't been behind a PlayStation in a long time. I'm curious to see what happens out of that, because when Microsoft was behind the Wii, they said, oh, well, let's make avatars and Kinect. Let's do what they're doing. So like, what is Microsoft, who's behind the PS4, gonna do? What are they gonna copy? The price? Copy the price, do that. Take the Kinect out of your box, stop that. All right, let's see where else there's movement. Oh, here we are, number 4. PCs have moved down to number 4. Yeah, just a rough week for PCs. They weren't on your local news. Didn't have a lot of negative product reviews on Amazon about hardware failure. Weren't on Jimmy Fallon. So just kind of, you know, kind of an invisible week for PCs. You'll get them next week, PCs. And of course, bumping up to number 3 this week is Sony, who announced that they have sold 1 million PlayStation 4s in North America in one day. And they said sold, not shipped. Normally Sony says shipped, and when they said sold, you know they're in a good mood. That is more consoles than have ever been sold in this continent in one day. That's a pretty big deal. That is crazy, actually, because not only does that mean that Sony sold 1 million PlayStation 4s, but it also means that 1 million people were interested in this kind of thing, which of course encourages me. I'm very happy that a thing like this could be a success, and so congrats to Sony, but also congrats to number 2, people, human beings. Good job, human beings. Not only did you buy a bunch of PlayStation 4s, but people are ranked so high this week on the power rankings because Twitch and Ustream have sort of empowered the normal human being, the regular person, because these consoles can stream games now. And I probably undervalued this feature when it was first announced for next-gen consoles. I made fun of it on my dumb show. Post a Ustream, me playing Knack. And now that the PS4 is out and I've seen it working, I understand it a lot better, and I think it's great. Streaming your gameplay isn't about becoming an internet celebrity. It's not like everyone who's streaming wants to be famous on the internet. It's more just willing to show it to whoever cares to watch. And also, what happens now that there are streaming capabilities in every single box for every single game? Is that anytime that you, watching this, you're curious about a game, you don't have to like go to GameTrailers.com and type it in. You could go to Twitch and watch somebody playing that game right now, because somebody will. There's millions of consoles out there. And so I think this feature alone is gonna change everything if it hasn't already. It's also probably why games media is at 10 this week. It's just, what do we do anymore? You don't care about GameTrailers.com, do you? You're just gonna go to Twitch and watch those people play games. Meanwhile, I can only do one show a week. I'm worthless. And coming in at number 1 is Antonio Banderas, who just had another flawless week. Look at this guy. You're killing it every day, man. Keep up the good work. And that is the episode for this week. If you have your own power rankings, you want to play along, post it in the comments below, because I will read every single one of them. I think this is fun. If you're on Twitter, you can find me at Kyle Bosman. I will be back here next Wednesday. I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. All right, now that we got that out of the way, it's time for Knack Talk. Welcome to Knack Talk. So over the weekend, I played through Knack, and I gotta say I kinda like it. My issue is with Knack as a character. Knack is almost devoid of character himself. Knack is the thing in Knack, the titular Knack. Knack does nothing for himself, it feels like. He seems like he lacks any motivation, which is an important thing for a character. He just kind of follows around these people and does whatever they point him to, which really bugs me. There's one point where Gundahar, the goblin leader, he finds Knack by himself, and he says, "Knack, what are you doing? You're a tool of the humans, Knack. Why are you doing any of this? Why don't you join me? I can tell you like destroying things." And at that moment I thought, wow, this guy's right. Like, Knack does just like destroying things. That is what I do. And then Knack says, "I'm nothing like you." And then he picks up a car and throws it at the TV. It's like, Knack, what are you doing? You didn't even realize how ironic that is, you dum-dum. And so I kind of feel like there was this moment where they almost acknowledged Knack's motivations, but then it never happened. He basically is, as Gundahar calls him, a tool for the humans. And that doesn't ever bother Knack. It really kind of bothers me playing through this game. Because like, it's a little like racially insensitive. Knack is the only black character in this game, and he's just bossed around by a bunch of white people. And there's this one point, very close to the end, where the doctor is just like, "Hey, Knack, go do this thing." He does this all throughout the game, actually. Just like, "Hey, Knack, why don't you go pull that lever for me? I'm a little exhausted." And Knack, for some reason, is like, "Okay." Never does Knack like show a little attitude toward the doctor. For some reason, intensely loyal to this guy. Anyway, at that point, he says, "It's like you always say, I'm your greatest creation." It's like, Knack, no. Don't think of yourself like that. Knack lacks any self-respect. Knack is the most powerful being in this world and thinks nothing of himself. He thinks he is just a tool for the humans. Despite that weird characterization of Knack, there's a lot of like really cool things going on with Knack, in that the way it scales is actually probably its best part. It didn't demo well, and I think this is why people say this could be capable on a PlayStation 3. Because I actually don't think it could. When you play a level all the way through, you see a little baby Knack turn into a giant Knack, but all gradually. It is actually very gradual. in that once you like pick up some pieces, like those little pieces get added to Knack and he becomes a little bit bigger. He gets a little more details every time, like, oh, I got a couple more hair spikes. That's a really neat thing. And so you can sort of have a respect for the size of each level, and the enemies kind of stay the same size. You know, you'll run into bigger ones, but those guys who were a tough matchup when you're a little Knack become really easy to take down when you're a larger Knack. So in the end, there's actually a lot to like about Knack. It's a fully realized and thought out world. At times it's like one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. Like, there's just beautiful rocks, great lava. And it just has a certain sincerity that you don't find in a lot of games today. 3.6.